Da, 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 da.
Hi, I'm Karen from MsRazz ChemClass on Teachers Pay Teachers. So I'm actually at school today. You're probably like, oh my gosh, she's here on a Sunday, and the answer is yes. So teachers go back on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the students come back on Thursday and Friday. So tomorrow is kind of hoping to take it easy, actually. So I thought I'd come in today and just finish up some of the things that I need to finish before school starts. So my last blog post, I talked a little bit about how I'm kind of a wandering teacher. It has been definitely a new experience for me. I've been on a cart for about 2 years now. I'm starting my 3rd year this coming year. And, it definitely was difficult. There were definitely some growing pains, especially because, for me, I'm very organized. Everything has its place, and I like a lot of stuff. I need a lot of stuff. So as I mentioned in my blog post, being on a cart really makes you have to kind of pick and choose what you bring with you. So I wanted to show you some of the other things that I've also added to my cart that I didn't mention in my blog post. So I thought since I was here, I'd record a video to do that. So this is my cart, and remember I said on Amazon I purchased some of these bins. So this is just a smaller version of this guy. And so in this particular bin, I've got a bunch of stuff, but the first thing that I have is the bathroom sign-out sheet. The kids have to fill out the bathroom sign-out sheet, fill out a pass. They also need to bring me their ID card to use the restroom to identify them. And I also have in here a striker because you never know when you'll do kind of an impromptu demonstration. I also have my goggles, and then with good lab safety, I also have like a hair clip because we really try to reinforce that here. Some of the other stuff that I have is some station cards. So these cards are just made out of cardstock and laminated, and then I folded them. They're really nice. They actually just sit very easily, like on a tabletop. So you can see in my hand, they just sit, they sit like that. So I use that for labs with the kids. It just helps me to stay organized. I do assign lab partners, so it helps them to know like what station they're at. The other thing I have are table cards, which are similar. They were made the same exact way, just laminated on cardstock and cut and folded. And so these are supposed to help me, set this up so I know like at which table the students are going to sit. I always assign seats the first day of school because I just don't know the kids and I need some time to get to know their names. So I always assign seats because I just need to like know who they are. After that point, once I kind of know who they are, I'm a little bit lax as far as like what seat they sit in. There's actually, like our setup here is such that we have pods of learning. So there's actually, excuse me, tables that are pushed together where the students are kind of like a pod. So table 1 corresponds to a series of 4 students that are sitting together. So, those. The other thing that I have are pretty cool. These are roll cards. And you may say, well, what do you use rolls for? Well, I use rolls for lots of stuff, but the #1 thing that I would say I use them for is POGIL. And so POGIL is P-O-G-I-L, if you're not familiar with it. I'm a big fan of POGIL, especially because we have transitioned into the next generation science standards, and POGIL allows students to engage in those science and engineering practices pretty easily. So my roles are the following. So I have recorder, I have reader, strategy analyst, that was a new one that I implemented last year, manager, and presenter. And so the purpose of these role cards is just like it sounds, to give the students roles in the team. So every group of students is called a learning team, and so that learning team, their goal is to obviously learn the content and learn it well. And so it's their job in the team to basically help everyone get to that goal by maintaining these roles. And so I always have these role cards with me because I use POGIL quite a bit in my classroom. But they can of course be used for labs. Obviously that would be a pretty large lab group, so I'd probably avoid doing that, but you'd have to modify them. You may be like kind of surprised that I have so many roles. Last year I had really big class sizes. This year they're not as big, but I had to create that strategy analyst role because they were so big. But I actually like it, so I think I might modify it a little bit. So the other thing that I have that is important for me are some calculators. So if you, do a pretty heavily intensive like math program in your chemistry class, which I'm pretty sure most of you do, those are important to have. I also ask the students to give me some sort of collateral when they use my calculators, just to make sure that I get them back. The last thing that I have are some Band-Aids from the Christmas tree shop. Actually, my students love emojis, so I got some emoji Band-Aids. They were like $1, so they're really not that expensive. So that's in this little bin. The other thing that I did mention, but I didn't take a picture of, but if you clicked on the link, you would see it. This little guy. So this little guy is my document camera, and I absolutely love this thing. So you can see, being on a cart, you need small things. So this is really small. It's very lightweight, and it works great. This is the IPEVO presenter, and it includes, all the software with it. As soon as you plug it in, it's ready to go. So it's really awesome. So I strongly encourage you, if you need a document camera, this is great. It also takes pictures too. I also have up here, I did mention this in my post, clipboard. So whenever I'm checking homework, I use this clipboard. I just put my grade sheets on here and I check it. I check it every day. What you may be wondering what this pink thing is, well, it's a pink slip. And so if you've read Harry Wong's The First Days of School, you know that the pink slip is really a responsibility paper. So I use this for students that do not complete their homework, and basically all they have to do, I'll just do a zoom in, all they have to do is like check off like why they didn't do it, if they want to kind of explain, like have another, and then they have to sign it. It's really good whenever you have that parent meeting to just kind of show like, well, this is what your student wrote, why they didn't do their homework, or this is what they checked off. So I've kind of gotten away from this in the last 3 years, but I think I need to start it again. So this year it's something I'm going to start with and see how it goes. And then the other thing, I got some questions about my Do Now bin. So this is my Do Now bin. I did talk about this. So this is just a, I guess just like a stackable tray really. I laminated a Do Now sign and just taped it to the back here. This lasts all year like this. This is where I put the students' assignments. As soon as they come in the room, they grab one of these. Very easy, keeps you organized. I also down here, I have a cell jail. So if you're a high school teacher, I'm sure you're seeing it more in middle school now too. Cell phones, are a distraction. I find that more often than not, students are using them to, text and take pictures and, Snapchat and whatever. So whenever it gets to be a little bit in excess and the student is kind of causing their learning team to suffer as a result, like they're not paying attention, I have the students put it in cell jail. I try to use humor like whenever I can, and so I find this is kind of just a humorous way to say, okay, like your behavior isn't appropriate, it goes in here. And so I keep it for the class period. To make this, I think I got this like plastic container from Home Goods, and then I got some electrical tape and then the black letters, and we just cut around the letters. So so this is just a humorous way, especially if you have some cell phone issues, to just let students know that they're going to lose the privilege. So, but you have to decide what works for you. And so that's pretty much my cart in a nutshell. I hope this information kind of helped you a little bit. As the year goes on, I'll definitely give you some updates. Like I said, this is my 3rd year being on a cart, and while it is difficult, you do need to stay organized. I do find that it definitely helps me at least not to have to set up a classroom in the beginning of the school year or pack one up. I also find that collaboration has been really great for me being on a cart. So I hope that you find the same thing. I know you'll have some growing pains, but always, I'm always available if you want to reach out. You can reach me at MsRazz ChemClass at gmail.com. I'm happy to talk with you. So best of luck as you start your school year. I hope you have a wonderful year with your students, and be on the lookout for more NGSS aligned lessons on my Teachers Pay Teachers store.